I am Rachael Woody, and I'm here with Phil Girardet. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At Girardet Winery here in the Umpqua region. And I'm here to ask Phil quite a few questions actually about the history of the region and of course your origins.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, let me start with why wine?
What?
Why wine? Why, how or why
why
did you get
wine?
into it? Yes.
Boy, it's a difficult question to answer simply because I don't know where to begin. See, I come from a wine region in Switzerland. I had an uncle who had a vineyard for his restaurant and was making wine for his restaurant. But I was not that interested to go in that direction at the time because in Europe it's all regulated. You cannot plant what you want, you have to plant what's approved. So you have no possibility of being creative and being doing something special. You know, my idea of making wine is to make something different and unique and possibly better than what's being done, you see. And you cannot do it in Europe because it's too regulated, you see. So when I saw the possibility in America, see, I didn't think about this. I was an engineer myself. I was designing instruments for chemistry at Caltech, Pasadena, and I didn't think of going to wine business at the time. But on vacation one day, we came to vacation in Oregon, and I discovered Hillcrest in '68.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first winery. It started in '63. And I tasted this wine, and I realized the potential was great here. And it was not it was the only winery there, and I didn't like Napa Valley and all these places because to me that was so commercial and kind of I don't know, somehow I cannot find the right word, maybe crass, you know, just commercial. And I didn't go in the wine business to, sure, I was planning to hopefully make some kind of a living, but I was not doing it to become wealthy or to become big or to, you see, I really did it because I was curious about making an extraordinary wine, which the Baco Noir is, they left?
Yes, they are doing the digital stuff.
Oh, they're doing the digital, yeah. I was going to taste the wine with them, you know.
I think they enjoyed it quite
they
immensely,
did?
actually.
Shall we taste it a little bit?
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is beautifully rich.
See, this wine is not aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
What I call aggressive, astringent. And yet it has enough body to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? And also a thing you may not notice right away, it's very very pleasant in your stomach. It's not a wine that's going to drill a hole in your stomach, because it has, I don't understand it, it has something special in the tannin that make it very acceptable. You know, it's a wine that, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'll say it just the same.
All right.
It's not a wine like Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is kind of a finicky wine. You know, you have to, it's kind of not, it doesn't talk to you right away. To me, the Baco Noir talked to me right away. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's figure of speech, you know. By the way, Richard Sommer from Hillcrest was a very nice guy. That's kind of a parenthesis. But there's something funny about it, and I say, funny, he doesn't look American, and doesn't behave like one American. He doesn't talk much. He couldn't explain things, in detail. And when I talked to him, I realized that his mother was American, but his father was from the German side of Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
By golly, Richard Sommer still behaved like a German Swiss. The German Swiss are kind of a bit like the Swede. They are introverted. They are not, they don't explain things in general. And it's Richard Sommer for you, Amazing. And I don't know if he's been in Switzerland even. He's been raised in San Francisco. His father was teaching chemistry there. And just the influence of his father, or is it genetic? I don't know. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's a funny parenthesis to do about Richard Sommer. But I should say he was a very nice guy. He was always ready to help you if you need some help. But he couldn't explain things, you see. And he was the only guy who I could get for advice, because I didn't know what the conditions were here, this was new to me. And the beginning were very, how we say that, scratch your head, you'd wonder if you're doing it right or not, you see.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. And when I saw all the other guys who came plant vineyard, and there was I forget his name even now, he's completely disappeared. He started in Willamette Valley. Big idea, big winery, big building, new press, everything new. And three years later, he was broke. He couldn't do it, Just big idea, what the heck they are thinking, Well, for the same thing, it was the same thing with that winery in Salem now, what it's called, Willamette Valley. They had stock, the issued stock. So they started big with $3 million, I'm sure they made a nice winery and lots of wine. But then say, hey, how can we sell all this? We need some help. We don't have enough money. We cannot market that wine. And they were lucky that lots of the stock auctioneer became salesmen because they didn't want to lose their stock. You see?
Right.
But it's another case. If you grow big too fast, no good. No good. So anyway, that's I don't know. Maybe ask me some question. Where should I go now?
Sure. How did you go about choosing this piece of land?
It took me a year. What I did, I rented a house in Oakland near Roseburg there, and I spent a lot of time looking for land. It took me a year. With real estate, I had no idea what they was asking for, incredible dumb. And finally I found it, and in the meantime, what I was doing, I was repairing the house I was in. Because I had the option to buy it with all the rent, go into the down payment. And the payment was only $4,500. The house, $4,500. It was an old historical house in Oakland. The neighbors, this house is just good to put a match to it, And I said, well, we'll see. So after I finished fixing it, I put a foundation on it. And I put it on the market for $12,500, thinking it was a damn good price, I sold it in a week And then these people, they just live in it for 2 years. They did nothing. They sold it for 18,000.
Wow.
I mean, running down for 2 years. And the people bought it, put new electricity, put a bathroom upstairs, put a swimming pool on the side of the house. This is right downtown on Main Street there. And they sold it for $85,000. A house the neighbor thought was good to burn down.
That's incredible.
Yeah, because it's historical house. Dang, you know. Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
So I found this land by looking hard, you know. It took me a long time. And my wife was pregnant at the time with our first baby. And oh, by the way, I should tell you how I met my wife to see how crazy I am.
All right, please do.
When I was at Caltech, I got transferred from chemistry to astrophysics. In astrophysics, I designed the saw to cut the rock for the moon. And there, my wife's mother was the secretary of the department. So on coffee break, say, oh, I'd like to meet your daughter, you know. And she said, oh, she come on vacation next week. I said, well, I'll meet her. So I got a blind date with her. We went to a restaurant. When she came out of the house, I knew it was going to be my wife.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You just knew by seeing her?
Huh?
You just knew by seeing her?
Just by seeing her. We talked and it just confirmed my impression. Just confirmed my impression that was the one. And 10 days later we were married.
Wow.
Yeah. And the funny thing, she was raised in Pasadena. She was born in near Chicago. I think she came when she was 5 years old to Pasadena. And so she's been in town all the time. But a test at school said that she should have been a farmer. She should be a farmer. When she was 14 years old. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but she enjoyed the country, you know, the life in the country. She enjoyed it. Yeah. So anyway, no, I'm going sidetracked now.
Quite all right. It's wherever you want the story to go.
Well, I don't really know where to go, you know. I'm kind of going this way and that way. I don't want to go too far on a tangent.
Well, I have another question for you.
Yeah?
When you got started, who were some of the other people getting started around the same time? I know you mentioned Richard Sommer, and then...
There was, let's see, there was Bielan. Bielan, he was right there about 2 miles up on the hill, but he was originally from Norway. I mean, his parents were from Norway, from the east, and he was a Norwegian. You know the joke, you can always tell a Norwegian, but you cannot tell him much. You know, he knew everything about everything, you know. He knew it all. And his winery was, he made wine, atrocious wine. And he had the gall to, once he had a party with some people, and he bring them the wine and said, oh, is that a good wine? I said, awful, you know. And he thought it was good. It's crazy, you know. Anyway, he tried many things. He opened a French restaurant on the coast, one here in Roseburg, a French restaurant from a Swedish guy, you know, from a Norwegian guy. You know.
Didn't go over well.
It's something, he was weird. Yeah. He was okay, but he was nice otherwise. But you couldn't tell him anything, you know. Yeah. So that was the one that was with my time. And also, very near after I planted Henry started to plant a vineyard too. Henry in Umpqua there. So there were, that was one, and then after that, much more started to plant in Willamette and everywhere, and gradually more and more. And they knew that was going to come, you know. Matter of fact, they predict that in 20 years from now, Oregon will be very reputed for wine, you know, because if we stop making some so-so wine, we will have a good reputation. But and we can make, you know, how to say it. I think the main reason to do a good wine, of course you have to have the right piece of land, you know, it has to be at the right place. But the soil is not that important, it's more what's important is the orientation of the land. And because here I have some lousy soil in some places, you know, but the grapes are outstanding, you know. We did Chardonnay this year, it's fantastic. That's a flavor incredible, you know. Matter of fact, one of our Chardonnay once won the People's Choice at the Greatest of the Grape. You have to have that, and you have to have a kind of a mysterious quality, like the gardener has a green thumb. If you don't have a green thumb, don't plant a garden. You know what I mean? You can explain to Gilles Blue in the face how to plant to somebody who's not a green thumb, it doesn't work. You know? And it's a little bit like that, you know. It's making good wine is both a science and an art. It's not just a science. I knew a doctor, MD. He had a winery in Roseburg. His wine was tasting like coming from an hospital. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell it was doing. It's too sterile, you know. I don't know. So it's not the profession you have, it's the quality you have, I think, that make a good wine, you know. Sometimes I'm so puzzled, I think, it's like Patty Green. Patty Green make outstanding wine, you know. She goes crazy about, she's doing 12 varieties of Pinot Noir. I said, don't you think you're going crazy about doing all this? Yeah, she said, yeah. I agree with me, you know. I mean, it's too much, you know, exaggerated. But anyway, that's her pleasure. Let her have it, you know. Everybody should do what they want. And the sun, I always say the sun shines for everybody. You know.
Right.
Yeah. So.
What are some of the varieties that you think will do best in Southern Oregon or have done best?
We planted some Tempranillo and some Shiraz, and he brought a bottle of Shiraz to a group of winemakers not too long ago. They bought a different wine, and they thought that Shiraz was the best wine of the evening. You know, very special. But I don't know if it's because of my sight or it's because of his skill, or sometimes I wonder if there is not another mysterious factor, you know, that playing a role in all these things. It's beside that, that's an aside of what we're talking about now. It's about my philosophy about life. See, there's a big confusion in the world between knowledge and observation. We mistakenly say, oh, I know, or like, I know that man. You don't know that man. You recognize him. You don't know what he thinks even. He doesn't even know himself what he thinks. You see? So the verb knowing is not right. See, like we observe that oxygen and hydrogen, what they do when we put them together, they make water. What? Two very dangerous gases make something as safe and heavy as water? Doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. I observe it, but I don't understand it. And some scientists say, oh, it's because of molecular attraction. Oh, yes? And what is molecular attraction? What is it? Nobody knows, you know? So, when we realize this, that makes us much more humble and modest, you know, about life. That we're really babes in the wood, I think. You know, I think there's great mystery in the world, and we should consider as mystery. And this way, we will get deeper into this mystery and understand them better. You know, but knowing them completely, probably not. Only God could, you know, but we can't. You see, so that's kind of my overall philosophy about the world. You know, it's full of things like this. And I like the Korzybski theory of words, theory of communication. His famous word was, the map is not the territory. You know, how much detail you can put in a map, it's never going to be the territory. See? And words are like this. Words are a metaphor. See? They are not the real thing. If I say this is a table, that doesn't describe that table. There's many kind of table, you know. It's not. We don't even know if we talk about wood or iron or what. You know what I mean? So that's why communication are so misunderstood or misheard, because we don't realize that everything is approximation. You know. Yeah. So. Anyway, maybe we should come back on wine, huh?
Wine and philosophy of life, I think, are very closely intertwined.
Wine's a constant reminder that God loves you and wants you to be happy.
Well, speak to me about your children. I know that Mark is involved in the winery now.
Mark is very fortunate because I never pushed any of my children in a direction because they wanted to come to do their own thing, because I have been seeing too much of that manipulation in Europe, you know, and I've seen too many people being stuck their whole life in something they hated, you know, because of that. So he came to the wine business just by his own decision, not by me, you see. And he is, I should confess, is probably a better winemaker than me. You know?
Have you told him that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even though sometimes he has behavioral thing that I don't think is too wise, you know, because. But that's him, you know. And I don't want to. I don't want to be the dictatorial father. You know what I mean? That my children should do what I want, you know, and all that stuff. So.
She's going to take candid photographs of us.
Candid photographs. Ha 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 ha. Oh, she's hiding behind the
Yes, now she's hiding. Very good job.
She's hiding behind the bush. So,
is Mark the only one involved in the wine industry?
no, my other daughter is my second daughter is involved, and she's well, lots of things are happening with her. She just got married a little over a month ago.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Finally, she found somebody that I think will go well with her, and lo and behold, she's pregnant.
Wow! Congratulations again.
Yeah, she's 32 or 33. It's about time. And,
I hope you didn't tell her that.
no, I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Just something that they won't tell.
Yes.
And she works in a vineyard. She's a very good, thorough worker. Very good woman. Incredible. And she has a good head on her shoulder. And she can think, like she has a flat tire, she can change her tire herself. She changed the oil in her car. You know, she understands all these things. You don't have to explain to her. Like Mark. Mark also is an intuitive about mechanic, you know, like I am. And my first son, my oldest son, not at all mechanical, is like my wife was. No idea how everything works. No idea. And you could explain to him when you're blue in the face, he doesn't understand it. You know. And my second child, which is a daughter, she's married she's in Green District. She has 3 kids. She married a boyfriend from school. Yeah.
Well, speak to me more about your wife, which she, I imagine, was very involved. I imagine your wife was very involved in the winery and getting the business going.
She did a tremendous amount of work. She's around the vineyard too, you know. Not so much in the wine. Even though she knew wine and she liked wine, because she went to Spain, and when she was teaching in California, she went with lots of people who like wine too. So she knew good wine. Yeah, she appreciated that. So she thought it was a good idea, you know. But she was. I mean, that's going back into disease. Her mother died of Alzheimer's, and it's clear she got similar disease. And I think myself, I read a lot about these diseases. More and more doctors now think this is diabetes number 3.
Really?
It's diabetes of the brain. The brain cannot process sugar. Like diabetes number 2, your body don't process that. It's sugar resistance, insulin resistance. And see, if your brain cannot process sugar, the brain is the biggest consumer of sugar of your body. If it doesn't work, your brain disintegrates. Simple as that. Well, it's not simple, but I mean the cause are obvious in my book. And another good, I should say, bad factors, which is a factor that a lot of people have, is stress. She didn't know how to cope with stress. She came from a family pretty Anglo-Saxon, where we don't talk about our problem or what bothers us. You see, she didn't know how to let her stress go. And sometimes she drank too much to get over stress, which is very bad when you have Alzheimer's.
Right.
You should not touch alcohol if your brain is defective, you know, because diabetes and all these things would make it worse. And she would never hear. Many times I told her, when are you going to resign your job as director of the universe? You know?
Yeah.
She didn't understand it. There's something in my wife sometime. It was like there's some compartments in their life was closed. See, the other side was pretty nice, but some there were closed. That's a tragedy. Yeah. Well, I guess everybody have their shortcoming.
Yes, we certainly all have our things that we could improve upon.
Yeah, yeah.
But let me shift gears and talk about the wine industry in general, especially for Oregon. How have you seen it evolve, and where do you see it going?
It's funny, you know, that's I'm a poor answerer to answer that because I am not I'm not watching what's going on in the industry too much. I'm not interested. See, myself, I'm not interested as making a fortune. I'm interested in doing something special. You see, so it doesn't bother me too much if the industry is slowing down a little bit. I suspect some little winery that's starting just now, they must have a hard time because it's hard to penetrate the market right now. It's saturated, you know. And if they do so-so wine, if it's not top-notch, very hard to penetrate. So I am very concerned about these wineries that are making a so-so wine, that are not stringent enough about controlling their quality. See, I think that's how life is, you know. The people who take care, they pay attention, succeed. The one who mess up, they don't succeed. You know, it's so I cannot really foresee. I foresee a great future in general, but for some people, I foresee lots of hardship. See what I mean? So, of course, if Americans were starting to drink wine like European, we couldn't produce enough wine. Nobody, you know. See what I mean? We couldn't. So to survive, you have to make some good wine, which is precisely what I'm interested to producing. I'm not interested in producing quantity of so-so wine, you know, like some people, they produce jillions of bottles of something, you know, and it's just, it's okay, but it's nothing special, you know. I think that's not the way to go. But personally, of course, I'm sure this kind of people will disagree with me completely, and that's their right, you know. Boy, it's a puzzle to me, you know. It's yeah. Even though in general, if I don't go into the detail, I think we have a great future. I think Oregon has a great future because, you know, we're a sister with Roseburg is sister with a city in Spain where they do the Tempranillo grape wine. They come visit us sometime, and they told us, you have the true Spanish weather, summer here.
Oh, how interesting.
See, who would have known?
Right.
I remember the county agent from the university said, he was saying here, the local agent, we cannot grow grape in Oregon. He was convinced. See? Ding! Educated beyond their intelligence.
Right.
I think a lot of people are educated beyond their intelligence, you know. It's because, I mean, there's some people, there's a fellow, I forget his name, he's Russian, in, I think it's New York State or someplace in the East, I think it's New York State. he's growing some vinifera grape there. See? But he is extremely careful about maintaining them and keeping them clean and healthy, and he succeeds. But most people would not succeed. The reason he succeeds is because he's extremely attention, pay lots of attention, you know. So, see what I mean? Everything is possible. So, what would bother me is if the quality in general of the wine of Oregon doesn't raise up. That would bother me very much, because that would give a bad name to Oregon. You know, the tourists say, we no use to go there. See what I mean?
Right.
If we want to attract tourists, we better good stuff. We sell Albaco Noir in Washington, D.C.
Do you?
$65 a bottle in a restaurant.
Wow, I believe it. It's delicious.
See?
Yeah.
But of course, New York, I mean Washington, D.C., it's a special case because all the people are crazy over there. They so much money, they don't have any judgment, you know?
I agree with you. In fact, we just moved back from DC. My husband and I were there for 4 years. We lived in DC.
Oh,
And yes,
yeah.
people are crazy.
Yeah, because the government have skewed all values. All values are topsy-turvy. And they think these poor politicians there, I say poor because they're rich, these rich, poor politicians, I should say, they don't know what they're doing. It's kind of like Jesus said, forgive them for they don't know what they do. And he was talking about the most educated people of Israel, of
Right.
Judah. The most educated they didn't even know what to do itself, you know, because that's the problem. See, you can be educated and you can be stupid. At Caltech, I saw lots of people that have their PhD and their doctorate already, and as human beings, they're a disaster. You know, they have no intelligence by themselves. They're educated beyond their intelligence. That's why education in case like this can be dangerous, because there's no good sense behind it. I don't know, for lack of, can explain it better, you know, but I know what I mean, but I can't explain it.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's...
Were you involved with things like the Oregon Wine Growers Association or other events?
Not very much, not because, you see, because that's my fault. It's because when I was a school children in Switzerland, I hated school. And when I'm on a group of meeting, I feel like I'm back in school and I hate it. You see, so I try to avoid as much big group contact as possible. I mean, well, a group like the Greatest the Grape, okay, because there's no, but when there is a conference and they have to listen to people who talk and blah, 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 and some of them say something that are not interesting at all, so then you have to stand on this thing, that bug me, you see. So I am a very poor civil servant in that sense. See?
All right.
Yeah, it's because I have to listen to teacher in Switzerland that was so boring, and I was convinced they were telling me a bunch of bunk, you know, not real, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's
Was not your thing.
huh?
It was not your thing.
That was not my thing, and I was not my thing, and I was considered stupid at school because I didn't listen. You see, I didn't pay attention to all that garbage. If I listen a little bit, ooh, this is crazy, you know. I always thought, see, I've been questioning, all my life I've been questioning everything, you see. In my own self, all the reality they have acquired, I say, is this really true? Is this really real? Or is it just an idea I have? You know, it's just a bunch of ballonets, you know? So I've been questioning, I mean, it's like in Switzerland, in my state, in Switzerland, there was Sunday school, I mean, biblical school, 1 hour biblical school every week. And when reading the Bible, it doesn't make sense. You know, in Genesis, the Bible says God repented of having created man. What? God, the Almighty, all-knowing, knowing the past and the future, knowing everything, didn't he knew his creation would not succeed? Didn't he knew that? Why was he surprised? Why did he repent? You know, he sounded like a scientist on a lab. You know, my experience didn't work. I'll wipe it out and start again. You know, to me that's what it sounds like. You know, it's the same thing about. You see that tree over there? Don't touch it because it's a tree of good and evil. You know, don't touch it. That's what that child is gonna do. And Adam and Eve were just like two children. They had no brain, you know? So that's what a child going to do. He's going to press that button and they're going to see what happens. See what I mean? So I think lots of things in the Bible are questionable like this, you know? Yeah.
For you, what is the best part or your favorite part of growing grapes and making wine?
The best part is to grow a variety that nobody else grows and make something that nobody else know or have tasted. That's my. I don't know why it kind of I like that, you know. And I like to see this grape growing and producing. It's kind of a symbol of the abundance of God, you know what I mean? It's incredible. Grapes are incredible because they can, you know, there's some grapes that are 1,000 years old. No, 2,000 years old. They're as old as Jesus Christ around the Mediterranean.
Right.
You know?
I have heard
They're
that.
still living. So grape are something unique. That's why I think the Baco Noir is something unique. The Baco Noir has quality that are unique. It's also a wine that ages very well. It gets better and better as it ages. And it's drinkable very, very. 6 months after you done, you could technically drink it. It's acceptable. It's incredible, see? So, one, I should tell you about the Cayuga. The Cayuga is a grape we planted about 30 years ago from New York. It was developed in New York by Cornell University to try to find grapes that would grow well in New York climate. So I read of all these things they're doing, and I said, this one sounds interesting. So I ordered some, and I planted some here in my vineyard for 30 years now. But I didn't like the flavor of the grapes, so we blended them in other white wine.
Oh, interesting.
Except the last 2 years, we did it by itself, and lo and behold, it's a great success. People love it. It has I'll give you some, I have some at the winery there, in the tasting room. It's a white wine that tastes unlike any wine I've tasted.
Wow.
It has a unique flavor. And see, to me that pleased me very well that I went to the trouble of doing all this, not knowing exactly if it was going to pay off. And boy, this one pays. Some I've eliminated because I don't think you're good enough, but some really pays, you see. And this another thing is like tobacco, it doesn't have to be sprayed.
Really?
No spray, no disease, no bug. What more do you want?
Right.
You know? I hate to go on my tractor and spray the sulfur or the vineyard. It stink. You know, it gets in my eyes. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, why not more winery don't do that? I don't understand it. You see, it's kind of like a big winery would understand, because a big winery would risk a lot of money. They could, if they go on a way and do something and it's a dud, they could lose their shirt. But small winery like us, it doesn't matter. It's just a small part of the whole, you know. Our people are not curious. They just want to do what. What are you planting? Pinot Noir? Okay, I'm going to plant Pinot Noir. You know, like idiots.
So, what is something that I haven't asked you that I probably should have?
That's a good question. I don't know, because I'm talking and I don't, I'm kind of foaming at the mouth and I don't pay attention to what I am saying, you know.
All right.
Because to me, it doesn't really matter, you know. If you're upset by something I said, that's not my problem. See what I mean? It's so I am myself. I've passed the time of being cautious. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do what I think, what I feel like is right, and I let it fall where it may. You know. That's the nice thing about growing older. You realize that there's a lot of things you don't have to do in life. You know.
Right.
You don't have to make your life so complicated. You know. Yeah.
Are you familiar much with the older history with Prohibition or before Prohibition, with families like the Dorners who grew wine?
Oh, somewhat, because we've been buying grape from them.
Oh, okay.
Sometime. They have the oldest Zinfandel planting in Oregon, from great-grandfather Dorner.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's still there. And the winery, the old winery is still there. It's an historical monument.
Great. I think we're seeing it tomorrow, actually.
Ah, you'll see where he was pressing his. It was very ingenious. He had a big cubic like this in concrete,
Mm-hmm.
and he put the grape in. There's a hole on the bottom. Put the board on top, and put some barrel on the board, and then with the creek, with a hose, he fill up the barrel. No pump, by gravity from the creek.
Right.
Fill up this barrel, and this barrel will press the grape down.
Wow.
No mechanical device whatsoever. He was making lousy wine, I understand, but he's making wine.
Yes.
You know?
So he was the first?
I think he was the first winery, well, maybe commercial winery, because you see a lots of settlers bought grape with them, you know. The German, the Italian bought grape, something else, and they planted their grape there, you know. It's like the mission grape in California. It's a grape the father bought for the mass, because they needed wine for communion. See, and this is unfortunately a pretty lousy, make a pretty lousy wine, you know that. But it was okay for the mass, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know that much about it, you know. I'm not that careful about my knowledge on these things.
That's quite all right. We're starting from scratch, trying to do our research, so we're asking everybody what they may know.
Well, from all the garbage I told you, you're gonna have a hard time to sort all that out. I feel sorry for you.
No, it'll be quite enjoyable.
Oh, good.
Well, is there anybody else that we should be talking to or know about?
let's see. Maybe you should talk to the father, Henry the father.
Okay.
Maybe, if you can find him. I don't know where he is. But he must be around the winery over there.
Okay.
Maybe you should talk to him. He may have some good idea. He himself came from, he was an engineer in California, aeronautic. And one of the engineers was at a winery in Sacramento, near there, and he interested him in the winemaking, and that's because of him that he started a winery here, because of that friend he has in engineering.
Mm-hmm.
He got unfortunately killed in a accident. He was doing a U-turn and he didn't see coming, and he didn't see somebody coming, and he got killed on a crash. That was pretty hard on Scott Henry. Yeah. Scott's a very nice guy. I don't know if he talked that much. He's not very maybe loquacious, but he'll talk. I know he'll talk pretty well. Oh, a lizard! See the lizard? See on the
Oh,
two
wow.
lizard.
Oh my
See?
gosh.
They're knowing each other. They're seeing each other. See? Look at that! They're fighting or something.
Oh, there's another one up there.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
stone.
my God.
You got a whole family.
The whole family is there. They like that place. Look at that. Well, it's lucky my cat don't see them. Yeah, because they have two cats, but they're getting old and lazy, you know. They go out mainly at night.
Mm.
There is some other people that are, one of them is very loquacious. You know what I mean? He talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's Marchand Vineyard.
Okay.
Marchand. He come from the east, Marchand, and he's kind of a spicy character, you know.
Okay.
I like him. He's kind of spicy. He does what he does a lot in his winery. He does classical music concert.
Mm.
Charge $30 a ticket, but he has some following. Some people come for that classical music, even though they don't think. I think I want to do some near my winery too sometime, because I have a friend here I love classical music, and she's a violin teacher in Roseburg, and she's very good.
We heard you play the violin.
Huh?
We heard that you play the violin.
Yeah, I play the violin. Yeah, yeah. I play mainly when I'm by myself, because I play with I put a CD on and I play with the CD, you know. And so it's nice because you don't hear so much the mistake you may do, you know.
Right.
The CD can cover it up. Violin is pretty hard to play well.
Mm.
Yeah, it is pretty hard. Yeah. Yeah. There is, I guess we're diverging now, we're not talking about the wine. Well, but see, myself, it's kind of good we diverge, because I am not stuck on something. Like, I'm not stuck on wine. I'd like to make good wine. I'd like to make something special, but it's not an obsession.
Mm.
Like, same thing with violin, same thing with music. I love music, you know. I'm not stuck on anything. And I folk dance too. I like to folk dance. I'm kind of, I have a side artist, you know. Yeah. So, I am, because, you know, like, if you say you're a doctor or you're MD, it's false. You're much more than an MD.
Mm.
You're a human being first. you know. You're all kind of other thing beside being an MD, and why should you ignore it? See what I mean? Matter of fact, that's the trouble of experts or specialists. They specialize in a field and they become stupid in their field. You know, they become stuck and obsessed. And I'm not like that. I think life is made to be open to the whole universe. You know, yeah. Like, I have a hard time to change my taste in music. Like modern, like rock. I think to me rock is an abomination. It's a music of the devil. You see, because it has that beat, like a heartbeat that is in panic. You know. I mean, that's not, to me, that's not music. It's not something you can relax and dream with it. No, it's something to make you, you know? See what I mean?
Yes.
So it's an abomination. It's the music of the devil, to me. Yeah.
I'm a classically trained singer, so I happen to agree with you very much on that.
Wow, you're a classic singer. Wow, you can sing the opera?
Yes.
Wow.
Trained to sing arias, mostly Italian, but I have done French and German.
Yeah, sure.
So just as you said, you know, I'm passionate about history, but then I have other things that I'm passionate
Oh, wow,
about.
that's fantastic. Oh, yeah, there's some beautiful aria in melody. There's some, I don't know if you may know the Pearl Fisherman. It's a French opera from who is it? Fauré? No. It's not Debussy. It's not Saint-Saëns. Even though Saint-Saëns is nice, the one with Samson, you know, Dalila, very very renowned dialogue. But the Pearl Fisherman is two men that sing a duo, and this is fantastic. They have different tone, and it's very floating, you know. It's just like the sea, you know.
Wow. I'll look it up. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a very renowned duo in the Pearl Fisherman. Yeah.
Well, Philippe, I think that was all of my wine-related questions. So if you'd like, we can go ahead and unhook and turn the camera off.
To do what?
We can go ahead and unplug and turn the camera off if you'd like.
Sure. If you think you have enough material.
Definitely. We went through all of my questions and much more, yes.
I'm glad. Wonderful.